To the Aga Khan Education Board, the Art of Being Smart program. My name is Aleem Nasser, and I'm going to be your instructor for this, for this training. Just want to tell you that I'm very excited to teach you this material. It actually took me a long time to kind of figure this stuff out, and the benefits have been tremendous. And I honestly think that if you really pay attention and you really follow along with this material, you're going to really get amazing results from your academic environment. So whether you're in high school or university, if you follow this material, I honestly believe that you're going to get tremendous value from this, and you're not only will your grades go up, but after I apply this material myself and I put it together myself, not only did my grades go up, but the best part was my emotional and my mental state actually improved. And in addition to that, my self-confidence, my self-esteem also rose as well. So I'm so excited to share it with you because I think you could really benefit from these insights. And a lot of this stuff that you're going to be learning today is actually not taught in most schools today. So it's very difficult to find this information, but I really didn't have a choice. I'll tell you my story in a bit, but I really didn't have a choice. I had to actually figure it out for myself. So really excited to share it with you. I think you're going to learn some new information, and I really think you'll get some value from it. Okay, so let's get started. So what I'm going to do, so here's our agenda, right? What I'm going to do is I'm just going to give you a bit of an introduction about myself. And we'll talk about the course description. Then I'm gonna explain to you why I actually think we need to learn this material, and why I think if we don't learn this material, things are gonna get more and more difficult and challenging for you. And if you do if you do any research right now, you'll start to see that the amount of students getting stressed out, feeling anxiety and having mental health issues is actually on the rise. And I think if you learn this material, it'll actually help to reduce, and you'll be able to manage these ill effects very, very effectively. I'm going to explain to you the structure of the course. One of the key points that I want to mention is that, as we go through this course, the structure is going to be quite simple to follow. But where the challenge is that you're going to have to come up with, you have to be able to let go of a lot of things that you've been taught. Okay, so the reason I'm mentioning this to you now is because I'm going to get you to think in a certain way, and I'm going to get you to kind of do things in a certain way, and you might think it makes no sense. You might think it actually feels uncomfortable, and that's actually a good thing. Okay, so very important for me to explain that to you. And in fact, at this point, I would even say that sometimes you may even have to unlearn some materials. Okay, very good analogy when it comes to unlearning. I'm not too sure if you know who Bruce Lee is, but somebody asked him. They said, I'm a very good martial artist. Asked Bruce Lee, and he asked Bruce, and he said, I'm quite good at what I do here, but I can't get to the level where you're at, and so I'm doing everything I can. And then Bruce Lee answered very nicely, and he said, and he got him a glass of water. And he said, do you see this this glass of water? And the student said, yes. So he said, how can I add more water to this cup that's already full, or this glass that's already full? And the student was confused by the response. And then Bruce Lee actually poured out the water, and then he put in additional water. And basically that's what he said. He said, you have to actually pour out what you've learned so you can acquire new information. So that's an analogy I think is very applicable for right now. Then I'll talk to you about how we work together. We'll go through some course guidelines. And then I'll give you your first assignment, very, very simple, very easy. And then I'll give you some final thoughts, okay, going forward. So here we go. There's a picture of me. A little bit embarrassed to show it to you, but and if you look closely, you can see that I got some serious skin problems. I think I had a lot of zits when I was that age. I must have been 16 or so. I don't think you could see the formation of a mustache, but I don't think I was shaving at that time. So it was a little bit just peach fuzz. So And I love that red sweater. That red sweater was kind of cool. Yeah, so there's me. So I was very shy, had low confidence levels, had a lot of anxiety and stress. And at that time, we didn't even know what stress and anxiety was. It wasn't even a thing. So when people were stressed and feeling anxious, our parents and our teachers would just tell us, to kind of push through. But now things are very, very different. Now we're very aware of the damage anxiety and stress can have on us. And we need to really pay attention to it, because if we don't deal with the stress and anxiety, then we can actually have physical issues that can arise. Okay. I was fearful of my classes and my teachers. And the reason for that is because I actually felt quite intimidated. I actually didn't think I was a very intelligent individual. I worked hard, but my results were poor. And I was always taught to work hard, but my results were poor. So that was quite confusing to me. In fact, my grade 12 average was less than 70% with a 69%. I put this in here that I was denied admittance into Mount Royal University. And the reason I put this in here is because this is one of the universities I wanted to go to, but I couldn't get in because my grades were too low. So this is actually quite traumatic for me. And then I did get into another university, the University of Calgary, but because I wasn't a good student, I actually was put on academic probation, which means that when you have a GPA of less than 2, you have 1 semester to figure things out, or you're going to be asked to leave. So very, very difficult time for me. And the reason I share this information with you is because I want you to understand that I am not somebody who's naturally book smart. I'm not naturally intelligent. I'm not somebody who can just pick up a book and understand it. Like, I am not that person. So really, really understand. I really want to make this clear to you that I'm not somebody who's just a natural genius or gifted in academics in any way. Okay. However, another reason I'm sharing this with you is because I think if you can pay attention to what I'm teaching you, you can actually get phenomenal results. Okay. So I want to share with you some of the results I got once I started applying this material. So really interesting stuff happened in my life. I ended up getting 3 university degrees. Okay. I was hoping to get 1, and I got 3. Which was fantastic. And I actually ended up getting a 4.0 grade point average in my final few years as an undergraduate student, and I graduated with my MBA with about a 90% overall in my classes. Okay. I became a university instructor, and this was pretty interesting. And the reason I mentioned this is because I'm now teaching at a university that I could not get into as a student. So really crazy to think about that as a student, so many students are allowed to get in, but I never got in. And as an instructor, it's it's more challenging to get in as an instructor. And I'm very blessed that I'm now teaching at a university that I enjoy, which is the same one I didn't get in. But what's even more interesting is I'm actually teaching students on how to achieve academic excellence, and that's very fulfilling to me. And then these principles are also applicable in other areas of life. So I actually learned this material teaching sports. I was 19 years old, and my sister needed a coach to help her with her ball hockey team. And I'm 19 years old, and I wanted to, meet the girls and get to know some girls. So I said yes, and in the process, I fell in love not with the girls but with the coaching. So that was pretty interesting. And as a result, I really started to enjoy it and all that stuff. And then when I figured out how I did better in school, I actually wrote a book on it. And that book was actually the reason I got the job at the university, because it really broke down how people can be successful at school. And then I became a speaker, and most recently I did a TEDx talk, and I did a talk at the Ismaili Center in Toronto, which was a phenomenal experience. I was a consultant, and I've consulted with a few pretty big companies. So one of them is the Royal Bank of Canada, one is the Government of Canada. I also was a consultant. I was hired at Accenture and Deloitte as well. So these are some pretty large organizations, and it was pretty cool that I had this opportunity. And then quickly, I'm just going to, I also own my own company, which is called The Art of Being Smart. And that's actually how we came up with the name of this program. It's called The Art of Being Smart. And the reason I came up with this name was because I actually believe that there is an art. I don't think there's a, sometimes people think they're just blessed with being intelligent, and that's true, but I actually think there's an art to it. And there's just like there's an art to painting, or there's an art to being a speaker. There's also an art to being smart. So the name is something that I really believe in. Okay, and again, that's the name of this program as well. Okay, so just quickly, here's some images. So this is me speaking at the Smiley Center in Toronto, consulting. I'm consulting some professionals. I'm doing a talk in Los Angeles here, and then this is the TEDx talk. Okay, so let's move on. So here's the course description. Course description is as follows. Okay, so we're going to deal with some abstract concepts. So when I talk about abstract concepts, what I'm really referring to are emotions such as stress, motivation levels, doubt, fears, things like that. Okay, and I also want to discuss things such as your thoughts, your options, your opinions, your emotions, and your beliefs. Okay, so these are really, really important because we need to get into this understanding that to be successful, we need to understand who we are first and what we do and how we think and how we operate. If we don't figure out how we operate and we don't know who we are, what ends up happening is we're always searching for things outside of us. Okay, and when you start searching for things outside of you, it can be kind of risky, because how do you know that new strategy, or how do you know that new technique you're using is actually going to be helpful? And what's happening is if it's not helpful and it doesn't work for you, then you're actually going to have a lower opinion of yourself. Your doubt and your fears are actually going to increase. So you really want to understand who you are first, and then we can start working outwards and start getting you better results. Okay, so here's some tips to success. So the key is, if you want to do well, is you really want to you actually want to do, your goal is that you want to do better in life. Okay, not just in school. We're using school as a way, as a means, as a context for you to do better, but the goal for you should be to be better in life. Okay, you want to be an out-of-the-box thinker. Now this is really interesting, because I'm going to be teaching you concepts that are counterintuitive. So counterintuitive basically means doing things that just don't make sense. Okay, and the reason I'm going to be sharing this with you is because there's a lot of counterintuitive concepts out there that most people aren't aware of. Okay, so I'll just give you an example of a counterintuitive concept. So I had a student, and she was, she'd always tell me, goes, you know what, I have a cat, and my cat always bothers me, and you know, and I feel so guilty because if I don't talk to my cat, then cat feels really bad, and then I feel bad because now the cat is alone, and all these, you know, problems she had because of her cat. So the intuitive, right, then the logical thing for most people is, okay, we'll just put the cat in the room, and then you can do your studying, or just maybe give your cat to a friend and do some studying, you know. But what she did was actually very, very brilliant, I thought, and she thought counterintuitively. And what she did was she actually purchased and bought another cat, which was brilliant in my opinion, because now she's able to study, and yet she's giving her original cat all the love and attention she wants. And on top of that, the two cats now are friends. So that's an example of counterintuitive thinking, which you're going to learn, okay? And then there's also other types of thinking that we're going to go through as well, okay? So abstract ideas, again, we're going to be discussing. Uncomfortable. So uncomfortable is very, very important, okay? A lot of times, especially today, we have this phobia of being uncomfortable, okay? We really need to understand that sometimes being uncomfortable is the only way that we're actually going to make a change. So another example, students, a lot of students, what they'll do is they'll wait to the last minute to work on their homework or their assignments. Okay, and what ends up happening is they won't do it because they're not uncomfortable enough to do their homework. Okay, until it's like a day before or a couple hours before, then all of a sudden they get very, very uncomfortable. They feel the stress, they feel the anxiety, and then they do their homework. So either way, they're going to get uncomfortable. Okay, the key is you want to use this uncomfortable feeling to work with you and for you versus against you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you how to get a little bit uncomfortable so you can actually take action more effectively and more quickly versus procrastinating and get super, super uncomfortable and then produce work that is of less value and not as good. Okay, so uncomfortable is actually your friend if you know how to use it. be willing to do the work. So don't just sit on the sidelines and just listen. Actually get involved with the material and do the work. Don't be worried about making mistakes. In fact, here's a counterintuitive concept, okay? Counterintuitive concept. You want to make as many mistakes as quickly and as soon as you can. And the reason for that is because when you make all these mistakes quickly and effectively, what ends up happening is you learn from them very, very fast. And then you can understand what to do correctly. Most people, they avoid making the mistakes, and so eventually it takes them a very long time to be successful. And so the reason why it takes them so long is because they actually never had enough mistakes to learn from. So what you want to do is make those mistakes and then actually learn from. And in fact, this program is actually being given to you, and it's being created. It has been created only because of the hundreds of mistakes I've made over and over again. And so mistakes can be a good thing if you know how to use them. Okay, number, I don't know what point this is, but it's probably like 8 or something. Accept 100% responsibility for everything that happens to you. Okay, so what happens is a lot of times people, not just students, but people blame other people, other surroundings for the issues that they're having in life. Okay, now if this is you, what you're actually doing is you're taking away the control and the power you have to resolve the problem. Okay, you need to understand that, look, whatever situation you're in, you actually somehow have contributed to it. So what you want to understand here is that when you know that you've contributed to it, then that means you actually know how to contribute and make it better. But if you don't accept responsibility, you're not going to know or feel that you can actually do anything to make your situation better. So this is very important. Okay, so here's something called a knowledge doubling curve. Very, very important. Because, and I'm going to spend a bit of time on this, and I actually took a screenshot from an article that I read. Okay, and basically what it's showing you here is that you can see that the amount of knowledge that is going on in our current society is actually growing at an exponential rate. Exponential rate. The problem is that we are still being taught in most schools today how to learn in the traditional way. So we've been taught how to learn in the 1900s, how people were learning in the 1900s. We were taught how people were learning in the 1945, even probably all the way to the 60s and the 70s. But now it's a different game. Now it's not about absorbing as much information as you can. It's about absorbing the right information, the most valuable information, and knowing that material exceptionally well. The other way, the old way, was knowing as much as you can, and then because you learn as much as you could, there's a good chance it's going to be on the exam or you're going to be tested on it. It doesn't work like that now. Now we actually have to filter information and be able to predict and anticipate what is valuable and what is not valuable, and then we need to be able to learn that material very, very well. So the point that I'm trying to make here is that if you're going to do things in a traditional way, okay, you're not going to be effective in today's day and age. And in fact, if you are somebody who's in university or in high school right now, you're probably experiencing tremendous anxiety and stress because you're not applying this new way of learning, and you're thinking probably that more information is better. And I'm here to tell you that we have to actually stop thinking like that, and we have to start thinking that not more information is better, but the right information is better. Okay, and pretty much, you know, the industry is changing in all areas. Like, so it's just everything is changing dramatically. Okay, so very important that you know this, because this is a big foundation for what we're about to learn going forward. Okay, so we must learn a new way if we want to perform better. We cannot use ways of learning that have been taught to us over 100 years ago, which is how most students are being taught. Okay, so over the last 15 years, I've noticed, okay, that the grades and participation are actually correlated positively. What I mean by this is that the number of students that participate in the classes and come to the classes is very much related to the grades that they get. Okay, so the results you're getting are very closely related to how much you participate in the class. Okay, so in red here, I'm making very clear each student is expected to come to class ready to engage in classroom discussions. Okay? And here's another approach that I want to help you shift in your mind. Okay? And that is that the traditional approach isn't working because the traditional approach kind of looks like this. Okay? There's a student and they have a goal. They have an academic goal and they want to achieve it. However, there's a problem. And the problem is that they think the teacher is the obstacle. Okay? And this may not, you may not think about this in a very obvious way or a conscious way, but unconsciously a lot of students think that their teacher actually is getting in the way. Okay? And so what happens is when they think like this, it becomes very, very difficult for them to be successful because they don't see their teacher as somebody who can actually, who is actually willing to want and help them. They see their teacher as somebody who's actually making their life more difficult. And this type of thinking is actually causing a lot of problems because it's causing the students to be tentative, to be shy, to be afraid, and it's not helping them achieve their academic goals. Okay? So a lot of times the instructor is believed to be the problem or the obstacle. But the reality is that most instructors are actually wanting to be the partner of the student. So I've just used my name here because I'm your instructor for this program. But if you really want to achieve your academic goals, you need to shift the way you think. And you need to think of myself or your other instructors as your partner, okay, as your mentor, as your coach, as your advisor on how you can achieve your goals. Okay, and this is what you call a partnership approach. So in your mind, you want to think of your instructor like this. And instead of being scared and afraid, what you want to do is you want to say, no, this instructor or this teacher actually wants me to succeed. And I can honestly tell you that the majority of teachers and the majority of instructors, that's why they're in the business that they're in, right? That's why they do the work that they're doing, is because they actually want to help you to be successful. Okay, so as a student, really try to make this shift in your mind, okay? That you want to create a partnership, a friendly partnership with your instructor. Okay, so if you're a student, this is how we're going to work together. Okay, so I'm going to expect you to attend all the classes and to contribute. Okay, so don't sit and just listen. Okay, because that's not going to help you. Get a bit uncomfortable, start asking some questions. Even if you think it's a dumb question, you know what? It's more dumb not to ask a question, in my opinion. Because at least if you ask a dumb question, you've got an answer. But if you don't ask a question and it's very, very crucial for you to understand it, then you're actually being dumb because you're not getting the value of asking the right questions. Okay, do the homework, do the assignments, because that is what's going to help you to perform better. Be on time. Okay, if you're going to be late, you're going to miss out on certain concepts. Put away your distractions. And I really want to hang some time on this one, because what's happening is, especially with online learning, what's happening here is that you are faced with tons and tons of distractions. Okay, you got social media, you have your cell phone going off with text messages, you know, maybe your mom is vacuuming while you're trying to learn this material and it's hard for you to hear. So maybe you want to make an arrangement with your mom or your mother and say, listen, no vacuuming when I'm learning this material. Or better yet, maybe you learn it with your mom and both of you can actually do better in school. Okay. The point that I'm trying to make here is in today's society, not only do you have more and more information to go through, you also have more distractions than you ever had before. So you really have to manage these distractions and put them away, okay? Equal to distractions is your attitude. Okay, if you have an attitude which is, this is boring, I'm not gonna like it, it's gonna suck, then what's gonna end up happening is you're not gonna get the value from it, because your brain is gonna tune out a lot of this material. What you want to start doing is you want to start thinking that this is the most valuable class you'll ever take. Okay? And honestly, this is not too far from the truth. Because once you understand how your mind works, once you understand how you function, once you understand what your strengths are and what makes you tick, you can take that into every situation, whether it's, you know, math class, physics class, biology class, chemistry, and you can take all those things with you, and in those classes, you can now start to perform better, because the one thing that is consistent is your mind your emotions, and your attitude. And those things can take you to the next level, okay? And lastly, based just on this attitude, is be coachable. So don't think that you know everything. I can honestly tell you, I've been teaching this material for over 15, 20 years now, and I am still learning. I am still learning. And so this material will actually be very, very different and very more interesting to you as you go through it maybe 10 years from now or something like that, okay? Because you're going to be a different person. Don't be afraid to challenge yourself. Most people are afraid of challenges because they're thinking if they challenge themselves and they fail, then they're not smart, they're not intelligent. But the reality is that if you challenge yourself and you actually don't figure out how to do it, you still benefit because now you've got some valuable information. And on top of that, if you keep on using that valuable information, then you'll actually be successful. And then when you succeed, then your confidence will grow up, will go, right? It'll increase. So that's important too. Remember to respect yourself, your classmates, and your instructors, okay? Have high standards for yourself. So don't accept standards which you know aren't good for you, okay? Do things that you would do if you were actually a top performer. Very, very important, okay? High performance equals high standards for yourself, okay? So very, very critical to understand that. And enjoy yourself, have some fun, okay? If you're not having fun, what's happening here is your mind is not going to work as effectively as it could. So make sure you have fun on a regular basis, okay? Don't think that school and fun are not mutual. Don't think of them that they cannot be combined, okay? You will notice that the highest performers are actually having fun while they're learning. And if you can do that, then amazing things are going to happen. And in fact, that's one of the things that actually helped me. I actually found a way to add a lot of fun and enjoyment in my time at school. And that really, really allowed me to perform better. So what are you going to expect from me? So for me, I'm going to attend all the classes and I'm going to contribute to the discussions. I'm going to prepare well for each class. I'm going to put away distractions, okay, because I'm going to give you 100% of me, okay, and I'm going to come with a great attitude. There might be times where I'm a little bit tired because I'm teaching like 5 classes. So I may get tired, but I'm going to give you as much value as I can and give you my best. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to hold you accountable. I'm going to respect you and the mentors that you have. I'm going to be open-minded and be open to new ideas and concepts, okay? And the reason I do this is because there's always something that I might be able to learn. And if I can learn something, then I'm all over it, okay? And to be honest, like I said, I've been teaching this for many, many years and I learn a lot from my students. Be fair and transparent in what I do. So I'm going to be honest and tell you exactly what I'm feeling and what I'm thinking. I'll be approachable to you guys if you have any questions for me. And again, I'm going to have some fun. Okay, so that means you're going to have to bear through some bad jokes and some jokes that aren't that funny. But just letting you know ahead of time that, let's make it a fun experience. Okay, so you want to think, is this a good class for you? Okay, so are you willing to do the following? Are you willing to hand in your assignments and homework on time? Are you willing to enjoy abstract ideas and concepts? Okay, are you willing to be open and try new things? Are you wanting to get uncomfortable? Very important that you're okay to get a bit uncomfortable. Okay, are you able to stay focused? Okay, if you're not going to be focused, you're going to miss out on a lot of valuable information. Are you going to be enjoying your ability to work with other people? Because by working with other people, that's where you get a lot of value. Okay, are you going to be motivated to succeed? Okay, if you're not motivated to succeed, I'm going to be very honest with you. If you're not motivated to succeed, then you should stop listening and you should maybe watch something on Netflix, because I hear the Umbrella Academy or Cobra Kai is pretty cool. So maybe you'll get more benefit from watching those TV shows than watching this. Okay, but if you are motivated, then you're going to get a lot more value from this program if your motivation levels are high. Okay, make sure you participate, make sure you contribute as much as you can. Okay, because in the contribution, that's when you're actually forming your knowledge. Okay, and we'll talk about more of that in detail. Okay, this class is not for you if you only want to listen. It's not for you if you only want to listen. One more time, this class is not for you if you only want to listen. You have to be able to get engaged in the material. Okay, so here's my thoughts, instructor's thoughts. And that is, if you give yourself 100% commitment to this program, you'll get all these benefits. Okay? You'll be more confident. You'll be happier. Your stress, your anxiety, your overwhelm will decrease. You'll have a great university experience. Your admiration, your respect that you'll have of yourself, which in my opinion is one of the most valuable things you'll have, and the respect of others will come to you. And the reason for this is because you'll start to achieve things that you never thought were possible. And as a result of that, you're going to get better results. Okay? You'll begin to make your family proud. You'll build a path of long-term success. You'll be able to understand yourself much better, which is really the secret to performing well. Okay? You'll know what your strengths are. You'll have more power. You'll have more control over your life. And you'll have more time to do the things that you enjoy without feeling guilty. So you get all these benefits. Okay? And guess what? Your grades will get better. So if you really, really take this seriously, you can achieve all these things. Okay? And I'm saying this because I've been teaching this for a while. It's helped me in my life. It's helped probably about 4,000 students now. And a lot of them have reported tremendous benefit. But the ones that have reported the benefit are the ones that are committed and motivated. The ones that are just there 50% and not really there, they don't really benefit that much. Okay? So here's your first assignment. What I want you to do is I want you to create a table like this. And on a scale of 1 to 10, I want you to put a number of each objective in each row, right? So number 1 is how clear am I on my academic goal? If you're not clear on your academic goals, you put a 1 or a 2. If you are very clear, you probably put a 10 or a 9, okay? Let's look at the next one. How motivated am I to achieve my academic goals? Again, if you're low on motivation, you probably, to be honest, if you're low on motivation, you're probably not going to get much out of this program. So I'm hoping that you're not that low. I'm hoping that you'll probably be at least at a 7, at least. Okay, so hopefully you're a 7 or above. But if you're lower than a 7, I mean, put it in there. But you probably will stop following through with this program anyways, which is unfortunate. But anyhow, just wanted to let you know. How effective is my strategy to achieve my academic goals? If you do not have a good strategy, you're probably going to go 1 or 2. Okay, and then if you do have some good strategies, then you're probably going to go 9 or 10. Okay, so I think you get the idea. And then make sure you total them up. And then after you were done this entire program, then what will happen is we'll just total up your scores. Okay, and then at the end, when you've got your second column done, then we'll just do the change and you can see how much you've progressed. Okay. Now, since I said motivation is very important, I've written a book, or a small little ebook called The Secrets of Motivation. Okay. And if your motivation is low, then you can just download this book. Okay. It's like a 15 or 20 pager and it'll teach you how to get your motivation up. Okay. Because nothing is going to happen for you if your motivation is low. Okay. So you can just go to this website, you can download it, it's free. And it'll help you with your motivation levels. Okay. All right. So that's what we've done for class number 1, and we will see you next week for class number 2.